very punctual, very punctual.
Exactly. So welcome, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I am very excited about today's room. We wanted to have it on a Monday, just start off your week, especially going into, the holiday season and kicking off your 2024, which is coming up very, very rapidly, with just some great, refreshing mindset adjustment and content. So we have real estate coach and trainer David Keesee in here with us today. And David has a long history in the industry. And so he will get the chance to tell you a little bit more about his background and some of the fantastic work that he's done. But I believe he has worked with over 3,000 or 30,000, David?
I've trained over 40,000 in events and stuff like that, but coached over 4,000. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's one of those crazy numbers like that. So he has over a decade of knowledge under his belt, and so we are incredibly fortunate to have him here with us in rooms. And so, David, the floor is all yours. Feel free to take it away.
I'm excited about it. All right, cool. Yeah, when I did those numbers myself, I was like, oh, I should figure out how many people I've trained, and I should figure out how many people I've coached. And I read it, I'm like, nobody's gonna believe that. Like, that's a lot. Like, I don't even believe it. It's been a while though. I mean, I've been doing this since 2009, 2010. So it's been about 13 years, going on 14 years. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. I really appreciate you inviting me out and having the chance to spend time with you. And yes, we're talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, right? Like, a lot of times I'm teaching sales, I'm teaching marketing, I'm teaching productivity and performance and those kinds of things. But today we get to talk about mindset, like what moves. And I really love the title. Like, you guys came up with that title, and I think it's such a good title. It's like, what mindset moves should you be making? And I think that mindset has been labeled the thing, like it's the one thing that changes everything, right? Like, if I have all the talent in the world, but I don't have a strong mindset, the talent doesn't really get utilized. I can have the best skill sets in the world, but if I don't execute on them, or I don't have a mindset to unleash them, then it doesn't really much matter, right? But right now we find ourselves in an interesting spot. In fact, I was thinking this on my walk today. So I was thinking this might be the most unique real estate market that I've seen in a long time. Like, I don't know how many of you were around in 2006, 2005. I basically, I transitioned out of professional baseball into real estate, and I got into it at literally the worst time that you could possibly do it. It was like, you know what? This is when it's really tough. Let me jump in there. And I'll have you know this, much like now and much like then, this is a gift if you leverage it correctly. And I'm going to show you the mindset moves to be able to do that. But to shy away from it, to resist it, to run away from it won't do you any good. You know, it's been said that, like, I prayed to God for strength, and then he gave me things to become stronger to achieve. And then you ran away from it, right? Like, so it's not that we get gifts, we get opportunities to grow into the people that we must become to achieve the goals that we've set for ourselves. So right now we find ourselves in a lot of chaos, a lot of fear, a lot of negativity. But what you need to know is a lot of that stuff is narrative on social media, right? Like, in fact, one of the mindset moves, before, this isn't even one of the things I planned on telling you, but one of the mindset moves I would make if I were in your shoes is I would commit to being a producer on social media and not a consumer. Consuming, you have to ask yourself, like, who's controlling your reality? Who's controlling your mindset? If you're afraid right now, well, it's probably because you're consuming fearful things. Albert Einstein said this. He said, the ultimate question that people have to ask themselves is, do I live in a friendly or a hostile environment? Because whatever your answer is to that question determines how you will act. If you believe you live in a hostile environment, well, you're going to protect yourself, and you're going to be fearful, and you're going to do those kinds of things. If you believe you live in a friendly environment, you're going to thrive. You're going to go to the next level. You're going to go out and do things. And what we have to discover is, like, both realities are, do we live in a hostile environment? Yes, of course. Do we live in a friendly environment? Yes, we also do there too. So whatever you want your reality to be, you can access that. So think about it like this. If all you do is consume negative things and fearful things, It's physically impossible for you to see reality any different. You know, there's a movie that I find really fascinating. It's called The Truman Show. You guys ever heard of this show, The Truman Show with Jim Carrey? And there's a line in there that always stuck with me. And it was this line. They asked the director in that show, yeah, me too. They asked the director in that show, why do you think that Truman doesn't suspect that this is all fake? And the director answers it with a philosophical answer that always made me think. And he said, as human beings, we accept the world in which we are presented with and don't question it. Wow. And when you get on social media today, unfortunately, there's two kinds of people. There are fearful people with opinions, and there are salespeople trying to sell you. That's basically the domain you have. Now, am I saying don't be on social media? No, I'm saying produce the drug. Don't consume the drug. Produce it. It is a drug. We are addicted to it in social media. What I'm saying is be a producer. Don't be a consumer. And be very careful with what you consume, because what you consume will become your beliefs, and it will literally be how you see the world. Okay. So in other words, we are in a world, a virtual world, and sometimes a realistic world of chaos and negativity and fear. And that puts a lot of stress on us. That creates a lot of doubt. It creates a lot of fear. In fact, when I'm teaching sales, when I'm teaching marketing, I talk about something called the motivation map, which is in order for people to take inspired action forward, to say yes, to go do things, they need two things. They need pain, right? They need to be like, I have this problem I don't want to deal with anymore. But they also need this idea that something is possible. And my question for you would be, have you forgotten what's possible for you? Have you been tricked? Have you been manipulated or influenced into believing that you live in a hostile environment where you can't thrive, where you can't go to the next level because of rates, because of prices, have you been told that? Because it's just simply not true. What's causing, if you feel like that, what's causing that is that you have been influenced by people with opinions. And unfortunately, if somebody's really scared and they sell you on that fear, you will be afraid too. And you will see, I'm constantly, when I'm training sales, I always tell people this. You don't realize it. Like, I'm the coach on the sidelines and I've mastered sales. I've mastered marketing. And so I know that this used to be the way for me and it's not anymore. What you don't realize is you're literally walking by commission checks every single day. You just lost your vision. You lost your hearing. So you can't actually hear them. You can't actually see them because you're probably been sold on fear. You've been sold on chaos. You've been sold on these things. And so you've been told, look over here. Look how scary this is. And you can't see the commission checks walking right by you every single day. They're in the conversations. I'll have people send me, they'll send me sales calls of them on the phone. And they'll be like, hey, will you listen to my calls? I'm like, sure. And I listen to them. I'm like, you don't hear that this person wants to list their house in 90 days. You don't hear that? And they literally can't hear it because of all the negativity that's out there, because they've been consuming it. And so the first thing I would say is this: be on guard. The first mindset move I would have you make is be on guard. Guard your mind. Only plant seeds that grow the fruit that you want. If you let people plant seeds of negativity, you will get negativity. You can't not see it. So I want you to consider that, right? Like, the second thing is, I would say this is like the real solution to this in the marketplace for you is to develop skill sets. And when I say skill sets, what do you guys think of? You probably think of sales, right? You probably think of marketing. You probably think of habits. But I don't mean that. What I mean is your mind, your mental skill sets. And one of the things I want you to write down is the skill of reframing. Do you have the ability to reframe a scenario? Now, a frame is how you see the scenario. Two people can look at the same scenario and see totally different things. One person sees massive opportunity. The other person sees, oh my God, a liability. Do you have the skill set? And this is what I would say. I would ask you to go through your life. Just do it for 2 days, 48 hours. I was going to give you a week, but that might be a little bit too much of a commitment. And I want you to just put this to the test. And I want you to literally pretend like everything is perfect. Like the bad things that happen, perfect. I'll give you a great example. My wife and I, we forgot to do laundry. And so we did laundry late last night. We're like, we'll just do it and we'll be good in the morning. Now, all of our clothes for today, we're in that because we delayed it. And so I woke up this morning and guess what? Our dryer's broken. We have no dry clothes, everybody. We have no dry clothes. And I said to myself, perfect. I get to be resourceful today. I get to figure out a way. This is awesome. I needed a challenge. I woke up on Monday. It's almost vacation time, and I got to figure this out really quick. So I get to have a challenge here. And I started to take it on like, this is a good thing. This is happening for me. In fact, the first thing that I want to talk to you about, like for mindset moves, is to understand the 4 realities. And it's from this book. That's an international bestseller, thanks to you guys. If you want to get it, I think you can go to my website and get it. I don't know if it's up anymore, but at my website, you can go get it. But inside of this book, I talk about the 4 realities. And the 4 realities is this. The first reality is that life is happening to me, that I am a victim. This is happening to me. And there's nothing I can do about it. This is unfortunate, poor me. And, I'm at the effect of the circumstances. And I just want you to know that that is a reality that you're allowed to live in if you'd like. It's not a very strong mindset move. I heard a great quote the other day. They said, having a strong mindset does not fix your problems. It doesn't. It makes you the type of person that has the power to fix their problems. So the thing that I've been working on with my coaching clients is we're going 10x on the focus of improving our mindset. So what if for 48 hours, you just walked around going, this is perfect. I'm so glad this is happening. This is happening for me, which is the next kind of reality you could look at. The first reality is things are happening to me. Or you could say, this is all happening for me. When I look back at the 2006, 2005 breakdown, I was broke wearing hand-me-down suits from my brother that didn't fit me, driving a 1987 stick shift Corolla, which, by the way, if you really want to get millennials and Gen Z off the road, just make it all stick shift. Only people be on the road is you and me, right? So, side joke. But I didn't have anything. And at the time, I was devastated. I was literally sleeping on my parents' couch, and I had $50,000 of debt with $250 to my name, and I did not know how I was going to get through it. When I look back at that scenario, I would not be the skilled coach, speaker, influential person that I am today had I started in an easy market. I'd have been crippled. And people who started in an easy market, when it gets hard, they're crippled. They don't know what it's like to actually perform. People who've been in the business a minute, they've got their martini and they're just like, oh, we're in it again. This is going to be great. Where everybody else is freaking out. They're like, oh my God, what's happening? I listed the house on Monday. I actually had a coaching client tell me this, bless her heart, 2nd year in the business. She said, Coach, I got to talk to you about this listing that has been sitting forever. And I'm like, it's been sitting forever. She's like, yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going wrong. And I'm like, well, how long has it been sitting? She's like, 8 days. And I'm like, that 8 days, you guys aren't even laughing because you're like, wow, 8 days is a lot. 8 days is not a lot of time, guys and gals. It's a 6-month contract on that listing agreement. You know why? Because it used to take 1 to 3 months to get a home sold. A home listed on Monday at noon that sells multiple offers by 2 p.m. in 2 hours is not normal. That is not normal. Now we're entering more of oh, this is a little bit more, this is you actually have to compete. And so you just have to look at this and say, well, these times are hard. Is this happening to me? Poor me, I got to get out of the business. I got to go drive for Uber. I got to go do something. Or is this an opportunity for you to level up into the person that you must become to hit the goals that you say you want? And however you decide to look at that, you will see a completely different reality. And I'm just going to ask you for 48 hours. What if you just went through and just said, this is so perfect, and then just described why this is perfect for you? That is a mindset move of rich people. That's why rich people make investments in things. And why do the rich always get richer? Because they see opportunities where the masses see liabilities. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a pessimist view sometimes. You shouldn't be a skeptic sometimes. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you can't be that all the time. There's always two sides to every coin. There's always dark and then there's night. I'm sorry, there's dark and then there's light. There's cold and then there's hot. We live in a world where there's always two sides. And what I'm asking you to do is get good at looking at the other side, to develop the mindset skill of looking at these different range of realities. Another range of reality is this, and you've heard this before. It just is what it is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not happening to me. It's not happening for me. Life is lifing along. And it's not personal about you. God's not sitting somewhere up in a white cloud going, you know what? She deserves to be punished with a bad market. That's not happening. People are like, oh, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, sometimes it's because you don't work and you don't do the activities. And so you don't take listings. And that's the reason. So I just want you to consider however you decide to look at it. Is it happening to you? Is it just happening? It just is what it is? Or is it happening for you? Any one of these ranges of realities that you take a look at is going to determine how you take action. Like I said, mindset does not fix your problems, but it does make you somebody who can. A hard market is not an excuse to let up and concede. It's not. I have coaching clients right now that are growing their business, skyrocketing their business to $100,000 in GCI per month. 67% of them do that, actually. And it's like, how is that possible? It's because, and if you go to my website and you look at results and you go through all, I've interviewed a bunch of them. They're all on there. And what you won't see is, I got this magic secret where like the leads are over there and coach showed me where they are. That's not what happened. Every single one of them says something like, he helped me see it differently. He changed the way I was thinking. My mindset changed. Those are the kinds of things that you hear. And I want you to write this down. It's a quote by Wayne Dyer that always drives this home for me. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that is very true. And that's not just a nice motivational, that's actually a physics fact. That when you change the way you see things, that when you change the way you observe things, the things that you're observing actually change. Two people see the rain outside, and one's like, oh my God, it's raining, we have to stay inside. And the other one's like, oh my God, I get to go dance in the rain. Like, and they just love it. What is the difference? The difference is literally how you see it. And so I want you to get good at that skill set. That is a mindset move that I want you to be like, oh my God, this is perfect. And then change your reality by describing why that's perfect, okay? The next mindset move I'd like you to look at is this. Do you have the ability to generate energy on demand? Do you have the ability to generate energy on demand? Like, where does a positive mindset come from? It comes from you having energy. Like when COVID hit, I told all of my coaching clients, you still shower, you still dress up, you still show up. You do the same thing as you did when you were going into an office. Yeah, but I'm just walking into a Zoom meeting. Yes, but how you feel matters. People are always like, how do I become more disciplined? You have energy and you have the ability to generate it on demand. Now, where does energy come from? People like food. Food? Really? So you've never, anybody besides me, ever had a big lunch? You go to Chipotle for lunch and then you're like, oh, it's nap time. Food obviously did not create the energy. Well, maybe it's sleep. Okay. How many of you had kids that you know of? Anybody here have kids that you know of? Did you always just get sleep? No, you were sleepless for like 5 years. You were sleepless, had no sleep. And yet you were cranking. You were doing anything. Energy doesn't come from sleep. It doesn't come from food. It comes from two things. It comes from oxygen and it comes from blood flow. You ever see football players, NBA players, professional athletes, how they jump up and down and they're doing this? Why are they doing that? They're getting oxygen and blood flow going because that's what gives you energy. I'll give you an example. You could be, anybody besides me ever been like sleeping at night and then you hear a noise downstairs and you shoot up out of bed and you've got all the energy in the world? You know why? Your body knows how to distribute chemicals inside your body to get you energy. And what it does, what do? You do that. Your body gets oxygen and blood flow. That's why when it settles down, it's like, do, that's blood. That's blood pumping. And so can you do that on demand? Yes. Get some oxygen in your lungs and get moving. If you do that, you will have a better mindset. There's a physiology part of your mindset that, like, if you are not having energy, it's very difficult to have a positive mindset. Some people like to meditate, some people work out, and you hear this from people like fitness buffs, right? Like, I work out because I feel good when I work out. Now, if you're not a fitness buff and you're not working out, you can't even imagine how working out give you more energy. It gives you more. Well, yeah, because you're not working out all the time, right? You work out in the beginning, you get real sore. It's kind of like prospecting. You don't want to do it in the beginning. It's really tough, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And so number one is to say, this is the first mindset move. Choose the reality that you want to live in that will empower you. Which range of reality do you want to live in? Is life happening to you? Is it happening because of you? Is it happening for you? Is this market a good thing for you? If you're coaching with me, I will sell you on it. You get on the phone with me for 30 minutes and I will show you how it's benefiting you, and you will know it, because that range of reality it's there. Then the second thing is, are you generating energy on demand daily? The third one is to understand that discipline equals liberation. Discipline equals liberation. You've heard this. Discipline equals freedom. There are non-negotiable habits that when put in place, your life is better. One of the things that we're doing in my coaching program, and I didn't even intend it, it was just something for me, is I started lunging every single day. I do walking lunges every day for a quarter of a mile. Yeah, I'm a maniac. I put on some knee pads. I go out to this path and I walking lunge for a quarter mile every day. I got it from one of my mentors who I hadn't seen in a long time. And he inspired me. He's like, man, get back after it. I'm like, great. And I go out one day. So I'm doing it for a couple days in a row and I'm feeling good. And then it's really cold. It was like 30 degrees outside. And I was like, hey, Corey, it's 30 degrees out. Should I still be lunging when it's that cold outside, or should I wait for it to heat up? He's like, well, it's not the lunge every day program unless the weather's bad. It's the lunge every day program. And I was like, understood. And I went out and did my lunges. And then it was raining outside. And I was like, hey, dude, it's raining. Like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, it's not the lunge every day unless the weather's good. It's lunge every day. I'm like out there with a hoodie and it's raining and I'm doing my lunges. And then slowly my wife starts doing them. She's like, maybe I'm going to start doing them. And she's doing them every day. She's feeling amazing. My coaching clients see me doing it. And now they're all doing it every single day. I've got a coaching client who's a really good golfer. He's over in Europe. He's like, I'm doing them. He's doing lunges every day. Like, what is that? Two things I want you to consider. That lunging every day, that discipline, that non-negotiable has given me energy. It's put me on fire. I feel amazing. But the other thing I want you to consider is that when you have the courage to do non-negotiable, disciplined habits like that, you don't just liberate yourself, you inspire the possibility in other people. And if we had more people doing that, we'd have less fear and we'd have more success. If more people would just turn their light on and have the courage to do so. The last thing I want to say is this. There are two qualities that separate a professional from an amateur. And it's interesting. I was listening to Shaquille O'Neal talk about Kobe Bryant. And they said, right now in the game of the NBA, who is closest to Kobe Bryant? He said, nobody. Not LeBron, nobody. Guy was a legend. And whether you believe that or not is irrelevant. What is important is this. He said the only person that was ever better than Kobe Bryant was Michael Jordan. And so I started to geek out on it. I'm like, well, what made Michael Jordan different? Because I actually got to see Michael Jordan play like very close up. And he appeared very fast. He appeared very skilled and all that kind of stuff. But if you listen to all the NBA players, when they describe why was Michael Jordan so good, you don't hear because he jumped high. You don't hear that because he was an exceptional shooter, because he was really fast. They don't ever say that. When you ask his competitors that played against him, they say, Michael wanted to win more than anybody else. That's fascinating. So you mean the desire to be successful, he had that burning more than anybody else? And the answer is yes. And that's why he's Michael Jordan. He's not Michael Jordan because he was so skilled. He's Michael Jordan because of how he thinks, because he refuses to lose. And that's because there's two traits that a professional has that an amateur does not. If you want to be a professional, meaning you're the best in the world, the top 1%, there are two things that they have. It's not talent. It comes down to number one is commitment. They're committed. I will get the result or die trying. I'm committed all the way. Now, I want you to write this down. Anything less than 100% commitment is the same as zero. 99% commitment is zero. Can you imagine? You're sitting at the altar, getting ready to marry your spouse. You say, she says, are you all in? You said, you know what? I am 99% in on this. Can you imagine the reaction? Wait a minute. What? So what the hell is that? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, if there's a chance something goes sideways, I need that 1% and I'm out. 99% commitment is the same as zero. You're either all in, I'm doing it till the ship burns down or we win, or I'm not in. I'd be like, what do you mean? What's that 1%? Yeah, me too. I'd be like, what? What, huh? What, did we make a mistake? Crap, we didn't even like, what are the conditions? What are the terms of that 1%, right? All this doubt, and look what comes up. Doubt, fear, uncertainty. Why? Because anything less than 100% commitment is the same as zero. And professionals are committed. I will win. I will get the results. And I will distort reality in my head to empower me until I do. That is what professionals do. The second thing is they have ridiculous skill sets. Everybody at a professional level is talented. That's not what separates people. In fact, I heard this quote by a golfer, as a pro golfer. I forgot his name. He was on the senior tour. And he said, at the end of the day, this whole, I'll frame this, right? He said, at the end of the day, people saying that your mindset is what makes you a good golfer is ridiculous. Isn't this a mindset training? He said, now, if you are a professional and I'm a professional and we're playing on the same course, yes, the ultimate differentiator, the discernment between who wins and who doesn't is mindset. It is the only thing. So that's interesting. Mindset is what gets you to become a professional. But what gets you to win at the professional level, the differentiator is mindset. Like Michael Jordan. It was not his shooting. It was not his skills. It was his mindset that was the determination. So two things to consider. One, do you have a commitment level? And but I would say this. What level can you commit to 100%? That's what you really want to look at. Like, will you do whatever it takes? No. Okay, well, what will you do? And then know that the results that you're going to get are going to be in direct proportion to what you've committed to. Period. And so where are you on the commitment scale? And then number two, what skills do you need to develop inside your mind and your language? This is the two things I want to leave you with. Number one, how are you actively controlling your reality? Like the Truman Show. I'll give you one quick example, and I know I'm a little bit over time. Hopefully I have 30 seconds. I remember when COVID hit, and it was just like, we're all going to die. Like, that was the narrative that was out there. And I remember going to this country club golf course that my coaching client wanted. He's like, hey, why don't you come golf with me? I'm like, all right, great. And I go to this country golf course, and there's all these like successful people and these doctors and these entrepreneurs and these CEOs. And I'm looking around, and I remember thinking, if you never showed me any of that COVID stuff and you just plopped me here right now, I would have no idea that the world is like it is right now. Let that sink in. In that moment, I was like, no, life's good. Nobody's freaking out. There's nobody wearing masks. Nobody's afraid of anybody. Everybody's just chilling. This is literally like a typical Saturday at a country club. Like, what the hell? And I was like, and then you know what occurred to me? All that fear and everything is in me. It doesn't exist out there. Now, in other areas it does. It just depends. Who are you going to listen to? Like Albert Einstein said, you ultimately have to make a decision. Do I live in a hostile, and I'll put it in real estate terms. Do I live in a hostile market, or do I live in a friendly market? Do I believe it's possible for me to do deals? And I want you to use your mindset moves that I've given you on this to start to see the market differently, because when you change the way you see the market you're looking at changes. You will see opportunities. I assure you, when I help people switch their mindset and they see the market differently, I ask them, okay, based on what you see now, what should you do? And they're like, dun, dun, dun. I'm like, brilliant. They go take action, they get results. What was once a market of no opportunity and helplessness is now a market of unique secret advantage. Other people are looking at the market like, I don't see any business. And then this person sees business. Do you know the advantage you have over other people who are blind when you can see? And that is a function of your mindset, my friend. That's how you decide to look at the market, okay? If you guys want anything further with me, you can go to davidkeesee.com. I think you get the book there too. Like if you wanted to get this book, which would be really, it's called Find a Way, which is very fitting for this market that we're in. You need to go find a way instead of find a reason to not win, okay? Anything I can do to support you, let me know. davidkeesee.com. You can go over there and check that out. But with that, I am so grateful that you guys had me here today. Are there any questions or anything I can do to support you before we wrap up?
Thank you so much, David. I think we did have a question. Elizabeth, if you wanted to, I saw that you had your hand up, so I want to make sure that if you have any questions,
Yeah, for sure. I'm here.
Oh, I didn't have a question. I wanted to go off on what you said about COVID. I remember the day that they announced that we would be having a shutdown, it was actually raining, and I went to the grocery store and I just stood there and I saw this huge line. I go, wow, people are really going into this hype that it's like the world is ending. And here I am trying to find some wine and everybody's getting chicken. But I realized I'm like, I wasn't worried because I had a feeling that the market for us was just going to explode. And that's exactly what happened. And I took that 2 weeks that we couldn't do anything. I'm like, well, I'm going to improve myself health-wise. I'm going to study. I'm going to learn more about different aspects of real estate. And, you even said that there's opportunity everywhere. Yesterday, my husband and I were shopping for more furniture. And I'm like, this is the best time. Like these people are meaning homeowners that are either going to sell, move, or buy, and they've got money to buy. So I started networking with some of the people that work there.
I love it. See, you're seeing things that other people wouldn't see. And I think it's important for us to say, like, it's not that we're not saying that COVID isn't real. I'm not saying that people didn't get sick. I'm not saying people that things like that didn't happen. What I am saying is typically if you buy into the fear mongering, because that's marketing today. Marketing is fear mongering. That is the way that people get attention is they're like, you're going to die. Look over here. If you don't watch my video, then you're not going to make it, right? Like that's typically how people are marketing. But I love that you were able to separate yourself from narrative and go, nah, I'm not buying into that. I'm going to go this way. I love that. That's great. Good job, Elizabeth. Procrastination is a state of mind that I tend to get stuck in often. Yeah, and me too, actually. I definitely procrastinate every single day. In fact, I have a saying, and that saying is never get done today what can be put off till tomorrow. The difference is, though, I procrastinate on things that aren't the needle movers. I procrastinate on things that don't move the needle. Oh, I got to return that email. Oh, I got to do that thing like that. I procrastinate on those things. But things I don't procrastinate on, and I've had to train myself to do this, is prospecting, lead follow-up, working on my body by working out, working on my mindset. Like I don't procrastinate on those things ever because they move the needle. And I had to rework that. I actually think that great producers are procrastinators, right? You ever text or email a top producer and you don't hear from them for like 3 days? That's because they are working on the needle movers and they're procrastinating. So just make sure you shift that procrastination. Cool. Other questions, comments, hallucinations, or emotional overloads or freakouts?
We'd probably need more time for that, David.
We would. Yeah. Yeah, we're all going to hang up and then be like, oh my God. All right, cool.
So amazing. I love hearing you speak, and it's such a pleasure having you here. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this with our team. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure for sure. Seeing your smiling faces. You guys are all in very good company. You got a good thing going on here. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, David, for your
All right,
time
guys.
and your insights today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. As you know, we have our weekly rooms. And so there's more great content to come this week. And so we really kicked it off with a great one. And so very thankful for all of you joining us today. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their Monday and can take some of David's insights away with them as we finish out the year and start 2024 on a really strong note. So thank you again so much, everyone.
You're
Thanks,
very welcome.
David.
Thanks for having me, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.